Within the past few months or so, artificially generated artwork created by machine learning algorithms has been trendy and a highly discussed topic in certain online communities, such as Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Some of these art AIs include DALL-E 2, DALL-E Mini, which would later be rebranded to Crayon, Midjourney AI, Stable Diffusion, and other AIs which are currently in development, such as Google Imagen. These AIs crawl existing images already available on the web, such as photographs and various artists' already existing work, and with their artificial neural networks, they absorb the information from these images and use it in the future to generate new images based on the information they already absorbed from previous images, recombining these already existing images to make a new image based on human inputted text-based prompts, using keywords and phrases the AI recognizes to then generate the desired result. Not unlike how a person might use the right keywords to find the correct results in a search engine like Google. Some of the results generated by these machines are actually surprisingly impressive. Just by browsing relevant Reddit pages such as r/Midjourney or r/DALL-E 2, you can clearly see that some of these pieces generated by AI are indistinguishable from a human-created piece from a distance. However, if you zoom in closely, you can see some major or minor imperfections, such as perhaps messed up eyes, contorted bodies, lighting errors, or just general mess-ups that a human would not make. However, despite having general errors in the final results, most non-artists probably won't notice or care, as they lack the general expertise or care to notice these flaws at all. And after all, it is rather impressive that these AIs are able to generate results that are difficult to distinguish from human artwork to the average eye. Given enough years and more training from human feedback, these AIs will get even more sophisticated and will likely be able to seamlessly replicate not only still images, but also entirely generate videos based on human inputted prompts. I have seen a lot of discussion in certain internet circles of AI and machine learning entirely replacing or eliminating the need for human artists, and this is being heavily criticized by many artists. Conversely, this thought is being celebrated by people who find joy at the thought of AI making artists obsolete at their profession, which I personally find to be a very cruel way of thinking. I don't think you should be celebrating anyone becoming unemployed. I am not a professional artist, so my livelihood is not under threat by this new technology, but I am a hobbyist, and the creation of these AIs still manages to unsettle me as both a hobby artist and someone who cares about the health of our society as a whole. I believe that the reliance on AI-generated images will have a detrimental effect on our society. Don't get me wrong, the AI can generate both beautiful and aesthetically pleasing images. However, most of these images are derived from the input of maybe millions or billions or maybe trillions of images, to which the machine almost certainly does not own the rights to, if it is pulling its results from public sources such as Google Images or various social media platforms. These artists, photographers, and right holders are not being properly compensated at all for their hard work, and instead artists are being pushed out of their own industry by soulless algorithms. I could likely see there being lawsuits in the future by these artists who are not being compensated for their work being commercially used for projects such as DALL-E 2 or Midjourney AI. But most AI art admirers don't seem to care about these potential legal issues, instead praising the mastery of these machines. It is currently impossible to copyright an artwork created by an AI in the United States, as a work needs to be created by a human in order for it to be protected under copyright law. But easy workarounds exist to circumvent this requirement. Some of these loopholes include a human adding minimal modifications to an AI-generated piece to claim the artwork as their own, or perhaps simply lying and pretending they made the piece when the AI did it, and nobody will ever know the difference. Currently, there are already plenty of artists who use AI on social media and the internet. Some of these artists are honest and are open about the assistance of AI in their pieces, while others pretend they made the pieces themselves, even though it is obvious or not obvious to some that an AI made the piece with no alterations, which I find both highly unethical and dishonest. Other dishonest or illegal purposes some of these algorithms could potentially be used for include generating illegal images, such as directly ripping off or imitating an artist's style without compensation, generating images of unauthorized logos, trademarked characters, or inappropriate or illegal images of celebrities or children. I know some AIs such as DALL-E 2 or Midjourney AI don't allow the generation of nudity or images of real people, but others, such as the open source project Stable Diffusion, could likely be used for these nefarious purposes. I have heard some people compare the invention of AI art to the invention of various new technologies, such as the invention of digital art in Photoshop, saying that at first artists were resentful at the invention of these new technologies, but later on they were generally accepted in many circles as being real artwork. I would say I don't like this comparison. I don't find it to be an accurate comparison. Even though I would say that digital artwork is significantly easier than traditional artwork, such as tools existing in digital art such as copy and paste, undo, or warp, and also the benefit of not having to purchase expensive materials. And using the medium of digital art, the artist still has to put significant work into their piece, very similar to how a traditional artist would. They have to figure out a composition, they have to make a sketch, and then they have to do line work or rendering. However, with these new AIs, people can simply input a line of text into the AI and then it spits out the result. I'm not saying that artists that use AI as an assistive tool are not real artists, and I believe that AI could potentially have good uses for artists. But I am saying that an AI generating an image in and of itself takes little to no effort. And claiming an AI generated image as art is, to me, like someone who frequently takes photos of their dinner and selfies of themselves on Instagram and then says that they're a photographer. Maybe they are technically a photographer, but is it really art? That's how I view people who simply use AI images as art. I don't really view it as artwork unless there's significant effort or thought involved. And when the AI does all the work, there's no art in it. And the lack of effort it takes to generate an AI image is a significant problem, in my opinion. Not only will it push a significant amount of professional artists out of their very hard-earned careers, and being an artist is really hard, and most artists don't even get paid that much, but it will overall lead to less people appreciating the beauty of human-generated and real artwork. I can easily see the thought process shifting and many people in the future thinking things like, why put effort into learning how to draw or create anything from scratch when a machine can do it all for me? And that will likely be the thought process of many people in the future when these AIs are mainstream, and we as a species will collectively become even more uncreative, lazy, and stupider than we already are. And of course, technological laziness happens whenever any new technological advancement becomes the mainstream. New technological innovations which improve our lives make us lazier and stupider as a result. If you are around my age, how many people do you know who don't know how to spell, read or write in cursive, or memorize phone numbers at all because of our smartphones? These are just examples, but most people are highly reliant on new technological innovations and would probably die within a few days if the internet were to entirely disappear tomorrow with a solar flare. AI is honestly a threat to most jobs, not just artists. There are some people who are rightly concerned about this, and then there are ignorant people who are celebrating the fact that we will all be jobless due to being outclassed by unconscious, soulless machines. They believe that once AI takes all our jobs, we will be free from work and left to do whatever we want. This kind of wishful and utopian thinking is ignorant on so many levels. AI taking over all of our jobs will be the death of a human-driven market economy. If AI manages to snuff out all or most human jobs or services, we will no longer have the ability to earn money on our own. Money is basically power in this world, and without money, you will be powerless and unable to decide your own destiny in life. Instead, what would likely happen is the government giving you money for doing nothing. While this sounds ideal to many people, there is no such thing as a free lunch, and the gift will have strings attached. It likely wouldn't be very much at all, as the government would be giving you enough to get by. Not enough to live in more than a tiny pod or eat anything more than white bread and margarine, while those in charge will obviously print enough money for them and their friends to live in mansions and eat a fine steak dinner every night. And that is just what they are used to. If you would disobey the government in this scenario by not being a good citizen, this could be anything from playing too many video games or hanging out with the wrong people, your income could be reduced or eliminated. This is kind of reminiscent of China's social credit system. Even ignoring the dystopian implications of the whole population relying on the government to just eat, humans really need to feel like they have a purpose in order to be emotionally fulfilled. One reason why I believe so many people are currently having a crisis of meaning in our culture is because too many people feel like their lives are meaningless. And this can be caused by a variety of reasons, but one significant factor is too many people are spending hours, most people are spending hours at jobs that are frankly quite meaningless, such as being a cashier at a minimum wage restaurant or being a white-collar worker for a company that you hate. These jobs really don't seek to help out their employees, but they help out the corporations instead, which is why most people feel unfulfilled at these kinds of jobs. Not being employed but still being able to survive sounds like a dream for many, many people, but what is there to live for in life if you don't have a job? I'm not saying your purpose in life should come from your job, but humans do need to work at something. Once a person is free of any work or conflict in their life, they will feel purposeless. The reason why humans prefer robots to do their jobs over other humans is because it is cheaper, more efficient, and generally easier than having a human do the same job. Also, as technology and the internet have become increasingly more dominant in our lives, we have more of a need for instant gratification. We are losing connections with our fellow humans, feeling less of a sense of community as a whole. As we feel less connected with fellow humans, as we connect with them more through artificial and less personal means such as screens, we feel detached from others and feel less of a responsibility to take care of other people. And because of this, it really doesn't matter if we can get a service or product done faster or cheaper, even if it means more of our neighbors will be struggling to feed their children. This is the same reason why people shop at Walmart instead of a mom and pop store, because it is easier and cheaper, and they really don't feel connected to their community and don't feel a responsibility to take care of their neighbors. It is also why people would rather buy Chinese-made goods and services rather than buy from a local producer, even if they can afford the local prices. Until we as a society realize that a lot of our issues are stemming from an overdependence on technology and a lack of community, I really don't think these new issues being introduced by AI will be getting better anytime soon. We are in need of a paradigm shift in our culture, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. I feel like there's a whole lot more that can be said on the issue of AI art algorithms taking over art, but I really feel like this video is getting a bit too long, so I will wrap it up here. I'm sure I left out a lot of things, but if you enjoyed this video or if you have something to say or contribute, you can leave your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe or follow for more videos. Thanks for watching, guys.